Hello guys, it's Rhino, and today we're gonna have a look at Milito, a new game coming to Kickstarter by PSC Games. Milito is a game designed by the fantastic Martin Wallace, and it's a card-based diceless wargame for 2 players. It's quick and fast-paced, takes about half an hour to 45 minutes, and you have the option to choose any of the 6 available ancient glorious armies, each having a unique deck with their own strengths and weaknesses. In the game, you command a combination of units and leaders and fight over the control of the battlefield. To win the game, you need to capture and control 3 of the 5 terrain areas. You need to be able to read and anticipate your opponent's moves and to choose the right moment to commit to your best troops. There's 5 columns you'll be fighting over that can be with plain terrain or a rougher terrain with special effects. Right now, the control is neutral, but when you manage to win the control of a column, you turn the card towards your direction. The players can only play cards at their side of the columns, and they have a maximum of 2 cards in each column. If they place more than 1 unit in a column, the units have to be of the same type, or they can use a card with a combine ability that can be placed together with any other type. Each army has 22 units, and each type of unit is based on their historical counterpart. This symbol shows the speed of a unit, and faster units will be able to withdraw from a battle instead of being forced to fight and lose. This is the strength of the unit when attacking, and this when they are defending. Some cards have a cost or penalty to be deployed, indicated by this symbol, which shows how many cards they need to discard from their hand in order to place them on the battlefield. This is the flank penalty, which is the same but refers to the cost of placing the card in a flank column. The flanks are the columns at the edge of the battlefield. We also have the modifiers displayed at the bottom of the cards. The attack modifiers apply when the unit is attacking units of the type shown, and the same holds for the defense using the shield or defense icon. Apart from the units, you also have the leaders, which cannot be played in a column. They can only be played from your hand in order to pay for the cost of deploying units, or as a bonus card in combat, as we will see later on. In the game, cards can be discarded, as in placed in the discard pile that they can later re-enter the game when you shuffle your draw deck, or they can be destroyed, in which case they're out of the game permanently. The leader cards can be discarded but never destroyed. In your turn, the available actions you can do are either to place a unit in the battlefield or to attack. These actions can be performed in any order, and they can be repeated as you wish. For example, you can place a unit, then make an attack, then place 2 more units, then make more attacks, and so on. When you place a unit as the active player, you can choose and play 1 or more cards from your hand into 1 or more of the 5 columns of the battlefield on your side of the terrain cards. After placing units, you must pay any associated costs shown on the column's terrain card and/or on the card of the unit being played. Before placing units in a column, the active player can always discard any of his units already in that column. When you choose to attack, first of all, you declare the column in which you wish to attack, and it has to be a column that is opposed, as in a column that has units belonging to both sides in it. If you have more than 1 unit type in the column, you must declare which unit you will fight with and which will act in support. The other player, which will be defending from your attack, has to do the same. Then you, the attacker, must either select 1 card from your hand or draw the top card from your draw deck. This card is called a bonus card, and it remains hidden from the defender for the moment, and it only gives you the bonus of the card if it is a leader, otherwise it has 0 effect. The defender now has the option to withdraw all of his units from the column. He can only do this if all the units in his column have a higher speed value than the highest speed of the attacking units. If that's the case, then the defender's units are discarded along with the attacker's bonus card, and the attacker's units remain in the column. If the attacker already controls the column, then no change in status happens. Otherwise, it's set to neutral. If the defender does not withdraw, then he has the option to play a bonus card, either selecting 1 from his hand or drawing the top card from his draw deck. Each player now reveals their bonus card and calculates their final combat strength as follows. You have the attack strength of your attacking unit, plus any combat modifiers. For example, in this case, you add 1 to your attack strength, as the defender chose archers for their defending unit. Then you add a +1 from your supporting unit, but you ignore any of the attack or defense values and combat modifiers from it. You add the combat value from your bonus card if it's a leader, any modifiers indicated on the column's terrain card if it's a hill or wood, and any applicable modifier shown on the leader card's special effect. The defender does the same for the defense value, and the player with the highest combat strength is the winner. The units from the winner of the battle remain on the column, while the loser's units are destroyed and all bonus cards are discarded. If the winner was the defender, the column status stays the same if the defender already controls it, otherwise it's set to neutral. If the attacker was the winner, then he gains control of the column directly. In case of a tie, all cards from both sides are discarded and the status of the column is set to neutral. Now that we've seen the basic mechanics, let's see the setup and the flow of the game. Each player picks an army and starts with 9 cards in their hand and can never exceed that number. In the game, the players alternate turns, and when you are the active player, you do the following. The first thing you do is check for victory. If the active player controls 3 or more columns, then he's the winner of the game. If that's not the case, then the second step is to advance. The active player takes control of any column where he has unopposed units. An important thing to note is that if the active player, now after the advance step, controls 3 or more of the columns, he does not win automatically. He has to wait for the victory check at the beginning of his next turn for that to happen, and in the meantime, his opponent has a chance to fight back. Then the third step, before you can play any of your cards, are the flank attacks. The flank attacks work almost as the normal attacks if all of the following conditions are met. 1. The active player and the opponent have 1 or more units in the column the active player wishes to attack. 2. The active player has 1 or more unopposed units in an adjacent column, which we call the flanking column. And 3. The next column along from the flanking column either has no enemy units in it or is beyond the edge of a battlefield. So if these conditions are met at the beginning of the phase, then the active player can perform a flank attack. The attack can be either from the opposed column or from the flanking column. Once a flank attack has been declared, it is resolved as a normal attack that we saw earlier, but with the +2 strength bonus for the attacker to reflect the effectiveness of a flank attack. Then the active player may now perform as many actions as desired until he is no longer able to take further actions or passes and his action phase is over. Then last, the active player draws 3 cards from his draw deck into his hand without exceeding the maximum of 9 cards. It's now the opponent's turn, and play goes on like this until one of the players during their victory check has gained control of at least 3 columns. And this was Milito. I hope you guys enjoyed the explanation of the game. If you did, you can like and subscribe and all that, and you can find in the description box the link to the Kickstarter campaign of the game to check it out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.